What's up, Starcraft fans? This video is brought to you by ShadowArchon, who is supporting me on Patreon. Pulse Cannon tier supporters or higher are guaranteed one video redemption per month. This month, he requested P3 Raynor, so I'm going to use Rebel Raider. This will make my air units more expensive mineral-wise, but cheaper gas-wise. Also, the cooldown of my two top bars as Raynor will go faster the more supply I have in areas. So the more stuff I have that's in the air, the faster my cooldowns will go. So I'll have the Hyperion and the Duskwings more often. So the challenge is I need to use mass Vikings. So I can use Oblivion Express or Void Launch. Oblivion Express seems harder, so we'll go with that. So yeah, I can add Banshees or Marauders as needed, but you know, I'll try with just Vikings. So my masteries are resource cost, so I can have cheaper research, so I can get them out faster. I'll have Hyperion cooldown, so that I'll have the Hyperion more frequently. It's the really powerful top bar among the two. And I'll go with mech attack speed, since I'll have mech here. So yes, Oblivion Express, thank you to Endarth, Lucinus, Epirus, ShadowArchon, who are supporting me in the Pulse Cannon tier. And thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. We are once again on the Maguro map, so I have easier time selecting the enemy comp, which is going to be Devouring Scourge this game. It's going to be Scourge and Devourers. So Oblivion Express, as you probably know by this point, requires players to destroy 9 trains owned by Mobius or Amon. So these trains will go along these tracks, and we have to destroy them before 2 of them escape. There are 9 of them. We are allowed to let 1 escape, but we can't let 2 or more. The bonus trains that go on this very bottom train are free. We can't let them go, but the ones that go through our base definitely are not free. So the Vikings, as you guys may or may not know, are more designed to fight air units. The trains themselves have lots and lots of health, but they're on the ground. So I'll need lots and lots and lots of Vikings to actually take them out. And also make my cooldowns go faster. So to go through that, I really need a lot of money to afford a lot of Vikings. So more money, more Vikings. Pretty simple. So I've plopped down my command center. This command center will allow me to get more workers, get a lot of the economy, the income that I need to finance my Viking army, my Viking fleet. Lots and lots of workers. Yes, that's primarily what the early game is all about for me. Just making more and more of these command centers. I'll probably go for 6 for the entire game. Not sure if I'll go for a 7th one. But here we'll drop a 3rd one, or at least build the 2nd one. The first one is pre-built, so this is my 3rd one. Overall, 2nd one that I've built. Now, if you're coming over from 1v1, you might be thinking that this is a weird strategy because I'm not going to take my allies expansion. It's a solo, so I'm not going to take my allies expansion. But I will be able to get 1 mule for each of these command centers. So it makes sense for me to get as many mules as I can. And unlike 1v1, these mineral patches have very, very rich resources. So you can see this one is 4080 minerals. This one is 4085. So 4,000 minerals in each of these. It's going to take a lot to mine them out. Which is why I can just freely rain down mules on all these patches. So it doesn't really matter to me if I make 6 orbital commands, because these orbital commands, I know for a fact that the game will go on for at least 23 minutes. And with the game being that long, I can spam a lot of orbitals early on, just really invest in my economy in the early game, so that in the later game I'll have a lot of money to finance the army that I need. You can see Duskwings here called down to break the rocks because they are way more efficient in destroying the rocks than our SCVs or even Vikings, especially in the early game. So you can see the first wave are Zerglings that will come toward this base And with the wall I've set up here, I have a depot, a starport, a tech lab, and a building command center that are blocking the path to my economy, to my workers here. So they can freely continue harvesting away, working on my bank, while the Duskwings clean out all the Zerglings. So you can see for now, 2 Vikings won't really do anything against the first trainless escorts. So I'll pull them here so I won't lose them. It's very important early on to not lose your army, especially when you're Raynor, because Raynor's units individually are not that strong. You need a lot of them and a lot of power to reinforce. You need to set up your economy first and your infrastructure before you're able to engage as Raynor. Raynor really works by taking out dangerous units first, so your army can engage and wipe out the softer units that Amon has. And Raynor works by having a big army that's ranged, so that your units can shoot down the enemy before they can get close enough. And Raynor works by using these top bars to take out these waves in the early game so that you don't lose your Vikings. So you can see what happened here. I lost 0 Vikings in that engagement. In fact, I lost 0 health on any Viking. And that's because I let the Hyperion take all the damage. You can see that the Hyperion ate a lot of damage in the early game. And my reward for that is that I'm able to build more and more of these Vikings without losing any of them. So instead of like losing a Viking or 2, I have 6 undamaged Vikings, and they will all be very helpful. Now I have 7 undamaged Vikings. They'll be very helpful in making sure that I don't take a lot of damage from these Zerglings on the next wave that are trying to hit my base. So you can see I've also managed to hold position a worker here, and these workers will try to walk through to no avail because my hold position worker is body blocking the enemy. I didn't realize there was another wave here, but that's fine because the wall setup I have here means that all the Zerglings will have to funnel through to this entire choke point just to get to my army, and while they're trying to push each other out of the way, they're getting shot at by Vikings and getting destroyed. That's how I manage out of the particularly weak early game for Raynor. You really need to lean on heavy top bar usage and kind of tricking the enemy when you're playing as Raynor so you can properly set up your army. And the challenge for me is mass Vikings. Normally I just have a bunch of Marines at this point that I can sort of engage the enemy, but the challenge exactly is mass Vikings. So the only thing I can do is just trick the enemy by making them go through choke points, making them fight top bars, making them attack into the Hyperion, which is 2,000 health, instead of shooting at my Vikings, which are free, which kind of have free reign to fly around and shoot down air units. And now that the Zerglings are gone, they can land and supplement the damage being dealt by the Hyperion, which, as you can see, is once again on the field because I've gotten to a point where I have enough army. That's about, how many are these? That's about 19 Vikings. So the cooldown for the Hyperion goes really fast, and that's another benefit to not losing any of your Vikings. As I said earlier, the 3rd prestige for Raynor will make the top bars go faster. The cooldowns for the top bars spin faster or elapse faster, so that you can use these top bars more frequently. And the more frequently it kind of goes into a positive feedback loop, where the more top bars you have, the less your units have to engage. And the less your units have to engage, the less of them you lose to the enemy. And the less of them you lose to the enemy, the faster your top bar cooldowns will go. And it just kind of goes into more and more, you just get more and more powerful off of it, while being subjected to less and less risk, until you reach a point where, look at that, you're 114 supply strong off a 2 base. You don't have a 3rd base here, so in 1v1 you can kind of, your economy can kind of spiral out of control by getting a 3rd base really fast. Here I'm on 2 base, yet at 11 minutes I'm already at 120 supply with Vikings, not Bio, just Vikings. So You can see I'm engaging these Scourge without any fear because I have researched the Rip Wave missile. The Rip Wave missile upgrade is pretty important for my Vikings because that will give them splash damage. You can see they don't have to shoot down the areas individually. They can just shoot in the general direction of these guys and all of the enemies will go down. I teleported that Hyperion here because I know that a bunch of hybrids will spawn here. So I just put that Hyperion here to intercept any Viking or any hybrids such as this guy that will try to spawn in and try to ruin my day. The good news is that Hyperion is pretty strong. So you can see that I kind of control my Hyperion here. I kind of shift click the Hyperion. You can see the rallies here. I shift click the Hyperion back and forth because for those of you who don't know, you probably already know, but for those who don't know, the Hyperion shoots faster when it's in motion. So you want to micro the Hyperion, just make it move back and forth to attack its target so that the Hyperion shoots faster and you deal more damage with the Hyperion. So you can see my army is kind of getting out of hand here. I now have more than 48 Vikings. That's Viking number 49, 151 supply. Again, my units are more expensive than usual with Rebel Raider, and yet it doesn't seem to matter. I'm still at 153 supply off of 2 base income. I just need to remind you, this is 2 base income. And this is already considering that I'm constantly engaging. I'm constantly engaging the enemy, and still I'm at 160 supply. Hyperion ready once again. So take all those guys out. You can see Rip Wave missile making short work of all these air units. Just deleting all of them. Guardians and Mutalisks and Devourers and Scourge. Without losing any Vikings really. Maybe I did lose 1 or 2, but for the most part, my Vikings are just slaying the enemy. And these point defense drones that have dropped here are very helpful in reducing the damage even more. So you can see I've just teleported that Hyperion. I didn't actually lose that Hyperion back there. I just teleported it here to once again absorb the brunt of the damage from these enemies. And now that most of the enemies have been cleared, I can land the Vikings relatively safely, and you can see really light up these trains and eliminate them. See Vikings just dropping out of the sky, really being a menacing force now with this many Vikings. And this is the whole reason. This is the whole reason why I wanted to keep my Vikings alive earlier. So now in the later game, I can properly destroy the enemies before they approach me. Start the wave incoming. So I'm at the point now where I can engage this straight on. So I'm gonna fly a few Vikings so that their Rip Wave missiles can destroy these air units, and then the Vikings on the ground can just delete any Zerglings that arrive. You can see there's not a lot, so I lift a few more Vikings. I did lose a Viking back there, so I'll have to replace that, but you can see I have a humming economy with 6 orbital commands and a very strong production with 3 starports continuously pumping out these Vikings and getting attack and armor upgrades.
Knock that train over and raise some hell. I'm sending an airstrike now.
Duskwings, Hyperion, once again, both available, destroying all these escorts before my main army even needs to engage. This is how you secure the best engagement possible as Raynor. Really soak up the damage using the point defense drones in that period itself, and then have your army just drop and then fight the most favorable engagement possible. You can see that there's a disabling cloud on the ground, so just lift the Vikings to minimize the unfavorable engagements that I have to fight. Fly my Vikings over more favorable terrain, and then just finish off all these enemies. 2 SCVs here, just chilling. They were just there primarily to repair my Vikings. They're repair SCVs, so not really a problem.
Upgrade complete.
See, I'm even dropping mules now to repair because I'm floating 3,000 minerals. I'm maxed out on Vikings, so there's really no need for me to send any more SCVs. I'm just, yeah, using free supply. The mules don't cost supply, so might as well drop them while I'm maxed out because they're my only option.
Your forces are under attack.
You see, I'm just able to absorb even these fungals. They don't really do anything. Meanwhile, the attack wave, a couple of hybrid managed to escape. You see all these guys converging at this point to get absolutely massacred by my Ripwave Vikings. And they don't even really get a chance to engage. They get 1 or 2 shots off. And that's the beauty of getting a huge army with long range units. You don't even need to really endanger a lot of your forces. I did lose a few there. I did lose a few Vikings there, but again, my production is really off the charts. My income is really off the charts. So I can just afford to build another 2 starports in case I need to. Once I get maxed out, just shoot these enemies out of the sky, and I can land these Vikings. And with the Hyperion, with that passive buff to nearby units, the Vikings are even able to eliminate this train without much worry. And again, I teleport the Hyperion to the other side to once again absorb the brunt of these Scourge, these Mulisks, these Devourers, to clear the way so that my Vikings can safely engage, at least relatively safely engage, what is left of Amon's forces. You can see I'm just constantly at max supply. I have all my production structures in the control group, so I can just replace anything that I lose. In fact, I have 2 more Starports here that I wasn't even able to produce or to produce out of because I forgot to put them in the control group. A bit painful right there, but well, not really painful. More of an annoyance because at this point I'm not really hurting. Okay, yeah, just replace those. I think I lost a couple of SCVs that I just replaced with Vikings. Train number 2 is trying to escape, but I'll try to pursue it. But the bad news for me is that there's an attack wave here. I'll have to clear all those guys. Again, use a point defense drone to absorb most of the damage. Keep the Hyperion moving so it shoots faster. Use a Yamato. And then there's a lot of guys here. I'll have to send a few Vikings to clear them out. And then the rest of my guys can take out what's left of these trains. I will get the second bonus train to get full points, to get full EXP. It is a Burger, so no real EXP, but I did it anyway, just to show you that you can get it. These gardens were left alive. They are able to destroy my armories, but it doesn't really matter because I finished all the upgrades. You can see there's no upgrade remaining to get on the armory. They're basically wall now. They're just basically walls now. So it's fine that I can't engage, that I can't really protect my armories that much. They are not protecting me. That's the neat part. Even at the end of their production phase, they can still serve as wall. That's now the retirement home. The wall is the retirement home of my production facilities. As you can see, last objective has been cleared with little to no problem. There was a little phase there where I just kind of went a little all in on the train instead of engaging those three guardians that were trying to hit my base, but it doesn't really matter. We destroyed them anyway. You can see most of the damage, 43%. Well, not really most. The plurality of the damage was done by my Vikings, 43%. The next up is the Hyperion at 28%. Oh, actually, these were also Vikings. I think 43% were done by landed Vikings and 10% were done by airborne Vikings, or was it the other way around? Regardless, if you add the two, the Viking modes, you will get a total of 54% actually. Yeah, if you add them, 54% of my total damage was done by Vikings, and the rest of my top bar. So you can see it's really just Vikings for me. And that will do it for this challenge. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea what else you do, please leave it in the comment. I'll see you guys next time.